Welcome back to History Now, and today we'll be visited by a professional historian, Wallace Shirlington, to talk to us about why Vikings were such successful raiders.
Thank you, Richard. The Vikings were extremely successful raiders for many reasons, and we'll be exploring the main three of these today. Vikings originated from Scandinavia and were of Norse ancestry. Vikings did raids all over England and Europe and other parts of the world. The Vikings had whatever they wanted. The Vikings were very fast at raiding. Basically, they took what they wanted and left. They sailed in on their big Viking longships and seized small towns and civilizations. The Vikings were well equipped with the right weapons and equipment to win battles.
But Wallace, how didn't the Vikings' enemy have time to prepare for these attacks and raids?
Well, Richard, the Vikings were extremely fast at raiding. They would row in at immense speed on their Viking longships, jump off the boat and take anything they wanted or needed very quickly before the enemy could get a chance to defend. The Vikings would leave very quickly after they took what they wanted.
Wallace, what happened to these small towns and civilizations after they were raided and destroyed?
Well, Richard, the Vikings would sometimes simply just take what they wanted and just leave the town be, but other times they would take over the towns for their own and run them as their own civilizations. The towns could be left with fires, rubble, and destruction after the Vikings were done with them.
Wallace, what were the Viking ships like?
The Viking ships were very structurally strong, Richard, and were a huge part of the Vikings' raiding. The ships were made out of oak wooden planks and were watertight. Their ships had big oars at the side of the ships to row with. The Viking ships would glide swiftly across the water to land to fight the enemy. The Viking ships had woolen animal skin in between the wooden planks to make sure no water got in or out.
What were the Viking raiding tactics like, Wallace?
You see, Richard, the Vikings had very strong raiding tactics. Their men would usually be able to row and fight so that they didn't have to carry as much weight, which therefore would make them row faster and more efficiently. That was only the start of the great raiding plan, though. Once the Viking ship hit the shore, they jumped off the boats wielding axes and swords and charged into the town. They would then run into the houses and kill anyone who tried to stop them from taking valuables like jewellery, money, food and clothing. Once they had what they wanted, they would hop back on their ships and sail away once again. Their tactics were one of the main variables of them winning so many battles.
Thank you very much for joining us today, Wallace, and make sure you stay tuned for the next episode of History Now as we explore deeper into the times of Julius Caesar. Thank you.